Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was released less than a month ago and it's gotten crazy interest from the gaming community. I mean, this is a game that already feels well on its way to Game of the Year, and that's proven not just through my own personal opinion, but by the total sales for this game. We are already looking at over 10 million copies sold in just the first 3 days of release. That is mega money for Nintendo. Between the Mario movie making over $1.4 billion and Tears of the Kingdom's phenomenal success and current word-of-mouth marketing, I am sure that executives at Nintendo are planning to make some massive moves in the coming year. The question becomes, what will those moves be? Will they move further into the cinema space? Will they capitalize on their cash cows like Zelda? Or will they focus their resources on bringing more Western attention to their pre-existing and more locally beloved titles? Personally, I would like to see them choose the last option. There are so many great Nintendo titles with decades of content, solid storytelling, and compelling and engaging gameplay. I can't speak to them all, but if you've been around this channel at all, you know that one of my personal favorites is Fire Emblem. This series just released its 17th installment in January of this year, and for a quick comparison, sold a current total of 1.6 million copies, in contrast to Tears of the Kingdom's over 10 million. Now, is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom really a near 10 times better than Fire Emblem Engage? Or is the real reason for this sales differential just consumer awareness? Well, rather than talking about marketing efforts and brand awareness for each game, I want to instead honestly review each game through the factors that make them buyable. Those factors will be storyline, freedom, explorability, gameplay, and replayability of the game. Alright, so first we're going to start with a storyline, and in case anyone hasn't played either game, I just want to give a quick spoiler warning here. Although I won't be going into depth, I will dive into pieces of the story for each game. Fire Emblem Engage utilizes a very straightforward storytelling method. You begin the game with the introduction of your protagonist, Alir, and the story unfolds as you progress from chapter to chapter with him. There are memories that he does not have, but you're going to learn of those in the same time frame that he does. It felt like this game gave up a little in storytelling for the sake of just fan service. They brought in emblems that your main characters could pair up with to become more powerful. The emblems were all protagonists from previous games in the franchise. It was a great concept and it had some great Avengers kind of assemble moments, but was overall simplified substantially compared to the other Fire Emblem games. In terms of predictability though, Zelda has to take the award here. Fire Emblem Engage still had moments that subverted my expectations, even if the story didn't leave me mind blown. Zelda, on the other hand, offers a nearly identical structure to what we've seen before in terms of plot. Zelda is in peril, Ganon is back in power, explore the world and adventure to attain the weaponry or allies you need, and then go take them out. Now, one thing I do really love about this storyline, it's kind of similar to Breath of the Wild, is the capturing of Zelda's memories. This allows you to basically unveil two storylines at the same time. The first, of course, being Link's storyline, revealed as you move forward in the game, and the second being Zelda's memories from a generation before that you will collect. This is really cool because you get to not only play in this new torn world and be its hero, you simultaneously get to find out how it got this way. This game is fun as always, but is as predictable as expected and quite stingy on the lore. Nintendo in general has a habit of limiting lore and leaving timelines kind of ambiguous. Overall, Zelda has a much more free-form story that feels as though it's being explored naturally, while Fire Emblem Engage follows a very strict storyline that will be discovered exactly when the creators wanted you to. It's less predictable overall, but for many Zelda fans, this age-old story format is part of the nostalgia. Now, as discussed, the storyline is fairly comparable between the two, depending on your preferences, but the exploration variable is where Tears of the Kingdom begins to take the cake. To be fair, I would consider exploration to be the key selling feature of Tears of the Kingdom, and perhaps Zelda in general, but this game really stepped it up. Breath of the Wild offered a vast world to explore, with all kinds of side quests to enjoy. Tears of the Kingdom amped that up to 11 and gave players a similar surface with whole new worlds to explore below the surface and in the sky. Not only is there such a vast world to explore, but the way that you get to do so offers additional freedom. There's not only one way to fly, or to drive, or to get across water. You can merge all kinds of items together to make anything from weapons to aircrafts. This game absolutely makes you feel free, and that really can't go understated considering the fact that Breath of the Wild already did that better than any other Nintendo game. Fire Emblem Engage does not shine in this category as brightly, but definitely stepped things up from previous games within the franchise. Players can now explore maps that have been completed with Alear. Fire Emblem has always been a very contained series of games. You're given a map with a set number of tiles, and that is exactly what you get to play within. There's never been additional exploration. The fact that Engage brought this in is nice, but doesn't really add a whole lot, to be honest. There are other places to explore, like the Somniel. It's essentially their home base, and you can have conversations, pick up items, and adopt pets. Overall, the exploration is a step up from basic Fire Emblem experiences, but cannot compare with Zelda in this category. Many of you are likely thinking, sure, it can't compare with Zelda on exploration, but it shouldn't even have to. Fair enough. There are other categories in which Fire Emblem can shine though, and in my opinion, one of them is gameplay. These two games fall under completely different genres, so it's hard to compare. Zelda is more of a hack and slash adventure series, while Fire Emblem falls within the strategy category. Don't get me wrong though, there is still a lot of crossover to compare here. In its harder mode, Fire Emblem Engage chapters are essentially massive puzzles. Sure, there are multiple ways to complete them, but you'll have to exhaust a ton of different strategies, rewinding time to correct mistakes, and testing both your creativity and critical thinking. Tears of the Kingdom is not far off when it comes to the shrines. These are puzzles that the player will need to solve, once again using critical thought, but with the new merging feature in this game, I would say it offers even more opportunity for creativity. The topic of gameplay is always going to be somewhat subjective, and while I may find a ton of people who prefer the freedom for creativity that Tears of the Kingdom offers, I know that there are a ton of my own viewers here who prefer the challenge that Fire Emblem Engage offers. I mean, in Maddening mode, this game can truly test your limits in a way that Tears of the Kingdom just isn't designed to do. There's a ton of content in all Zelda games that us gamers can pour our time into and enjoy, and a whole lot of difficult challenges as well. But completing a Maddening mode run on Fire Emblem Engage is a more exhausting and rewarding feeling. Let's move on to replayability though. This is an important factor for any game. Developers want good word of mouth to carry their game sales for months to come, so we need people maintaining interest longer than the duration of the game. At the time of this video, we have DLC for Fire Emblem Engage, but not Tears of the Kingdom. So to be fair, I will not be including the DLC into my consideration. One thing that Fire Emblem as a franchise has done well in previous games is the New Game Plus feature, which allows you to carry support levels and other bonuses with you from a previously won file into your new game. Unfortunately, that's been taken out of Engage, which I would normally think hurts its chances a lot, but there still seems to be a great opportunity here though, through post-game skirmishes. In my opinion, this works even better to keep players in the game because they continue to grind characters to higher and higher levels. I know that after finishing the game, one of my goals was to max out every single character, and man, that is a ton of hours. I'm not joking when I say that I've played it for over 1,000 hours now. Zelda, on the other hand, has a ton of content in every one of its games, but oftentimes, once dungeons, puzzles, side quests, and bosses are defeated, there really isn't much left to do. Tears of the Kingdom handled this so beautifully by bringing in a new surface called the Depths. Now, as the name suggests, it's a world just under the main surface, with much more to explore and enemies to fight. In fact, you can even fight previous bosses and get further rewards for it. I like that there are rewards for players for doing this, But for me, the incentive to fight these bosses again is already existent, because I just feel the need to prove my new skills. Whether it's having better armor, more hearts and skills, or even just having progressed myself in my skills in the game, I want to go back to that boss that gave me a hard time and kill him as if he were always easy. Okay, so we have our conclusion. If the two games have to be rated side by side, Tears of the Kingdom is going to take the prize. It offers more freedom, diversity of gameplay, and even went on to improve its replayability qualities. I'll always be a huge fan of Fire Emblem, and I look forward to playing every game in this series going forward, but I understand that the barrier to entry is a little higher. This game just simply isn't made for as broad of an audience as Tears of the Kingdom is, and that's okay. If Nintendo wants to put some of their newfound cash into the Fire Emblem franchise, hey, I'll be as excited as anyone. But right now, I'm just happy with it being a semi-hidden gem. Now, if you're new to Fire Emblem, please consider subscribing to my channel so you can learn all about it. I have a ton of content on that. And if you're here because Tears of the Kingdom just caught your eyes in the title, well, I'd love to have you subscribe as well. These are the two main games that I'm running currently, and I love growing this community around them, so we can all learn, explore, and enjoy these games together. Let me know what have you thought of both of these games down in the comments. Which one did you like better? Should they even be compared in the first place? I'm always excited to hear from you. That's all for now, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video.